thought I'd go through a couple of questions through Lesson 11A homework on Maple TA, just to give some maybe tips and tricks to see how maybe it might help. So the first one says, graph the following system of equations. I prefer to rewrite these as slope-intercept form, so I solve for y. That's over here. If you don't prefer to do this way, you can easily put in some values for x like 0 and find the y-intercept, put a value in for y, and find the x-intercept and just find where it crosses here and here on the y-axis and on the x-axis. And that's up to you. Over here, I went ahead and I solved for y to put them in slope-intercept form, and that helps reinforce how to find the y-intercept and the slope. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with this way. So here is our first equation, x plus y equals 5. To solve for y, that means I need to get rid of the x, and the x is positive, so I subtract an x from both sides. Here, x minus x is 0, which leaves y, and that's good because that's what I wanted. And here I have 5 and negative x. Now, slope-intercept form, I put the x first, so I have negative x plus 5. I could have left it 5 minus x, but x comes first. Okay, so over here for the next one, I have negative x plus 2y equals 4. Again, to solve for y, I need to get rid of the x. So I'm going to add x here, and to stay consistent, I need to add x here. Negative x plus x is 0, so I'm left with 2y. And here I'm going to put the x first, so I have x plus 4. Then, to continue solving for y, I need to get rid of the 2. So I divide both sides by 2. And don't forget, if I divide this side by 2, I divide the entire side by 2, or divide each term by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1 on this side, which leaves me with 1 times y, or y. Over here, to divide by 2, I divide the first term by 2. The coefficient in front of the in front of the x is a 1. So 1 divided by 2 is 1/2 x. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and this is my next equation. So to graph these, I'm going to find the y-intercept, which is this one on the outside. So the first one, it intercepts the y-axis, and remember the y is the tall one. It's tall just like the letter is tall. And I go to 5 here. Sorry, my baby is happy in the background. There we go, 5. And then I have a slope of 1. Now remember, to graph slope, I need rise over run. So because this is negative and I can divide any whole number by 1 and it keeps its value, I can divide this by 1 and I get negative 1 over 1. So here, from this point on the y-axis, I go rise of 1, or in this case, down 1 because it's negative, rise of 1, and the run of 1, so I go this direction. And I can keep doing that to find more points on the line. So I can go down 1 and right 1, down 1 and right 1. Any of those points are just fine. And as soon as I get a second point, it'll draw the line for me. Okay, so the next one, y equals 1/2 x plus 2. This one says I'm crossing the y-axis at positive 2. So I go here, 1, 2. Oh, I need to say I'm graphing here, and I pick as close as possible. Then I have a slope of 1/2. That means I'm rising 1 because it's in a positive direction, and I'm running 2. And it's close enough. My dots aren't beautiful and perfect, but it's close enough on Maple. Okay, and that actually tells us where they intersect, so that's wonderful. So because these are intersecting, inconsistent means that they're parallel, independent means that they intersect somewhere, dependent means that it ends up being the same line. So these are independent. Then to find the solution, the x value right here where they intersect is 2, so I go 2 to the right, and then how far up do I go? 1, 2, 3, 3, and if you don't like that, we could go back and fix that so that it looks better and redraw it in. If you're concerned about it, try and get it closer because it did go through there. There we go. It works. Okay, and then we can say, how did I do, to see how well it went. And if there's any questions on that, please let me know, email me, and I can hopefully clarify anything on this one.